And we are live. Welcome to the NBA Live Before Lock Show, Wednesday, March 4th. Thought we could get an interesting slate with some good late swaps. Didn't totally get what we need here, but that doesn't mean we're going anywhere. 4-game slate today on both sites. Crazy chalk at the top that we are going to try to talk through if we can. And we're going to be here for the next hour. Then you get to talk to Greg Ehrenberg because he'll be hanging around to do a little betting, little late swaps, and anything else that pops up after 7 o'clock. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live, and follow us both on Twitter. That is at Josh Engleman, at Eric Lindquist. What's going up, brother?
Nothing. Just got done doing some pick'em, doing a stream for the people there, have some bets in, have some other good things ready to rock for today, but not good. Just not having the Atlanta-Milwaukee game in here, not having the nightcap in DLAC where all the late swap could potentially be. It's just a bummer. I want to play the night slate, but I generally don't get to play a lot of night slates with the way my nights go. So kind of a bummer slate to some extent to not have that. But let's talk about, 90% owned Quentin Grimes. Let's talk about Tyrese Maxey without Embiid off the floor, all of these lovely things that it's not the slate we asked for. It's the slate we were given.
4 dudes projected for 50% ownership or more. 3 of them play for the Philadelphia 76ers. Quentin Grimes, Tyrese Maxey, Justin Edwards at the flat 3K. There's a name here that I definitely like the most. I think we probably have the same one.
Tyrese
Grimes. Oh, okay. 4,400 for Grimes here is just like a price tag I can't concern myself with. That's so comically low for a guy that, at least at this moment, we have projected for 33 minutes. I'd put him he's an auto play to me more than anybody else. The Maxey one is interesting because you can just have a conversation about him versus SGA. Same position, $200. If SGA beats him by 2 fantasy points, that might just be enough as a pay-up option, depending on what Jaylen Brown does. So Grimes, to me, at the top is the runaway. Probably has something to do with that 90% ownership, 90% optimal as well. But let's talk Tyrese Maxey here. 10,300, 80% owned, 80% optimal in a matchup against the Utah Jazz. He certainly looks awesome. No complaints out of me. How do you want to handle this?
Yeah, it's him and SGA. That's kind of what I'm pointing at. It's probably going to end up being both for me in a lot of ways. There's going to be a lot of lineups where that's the combo. I get the Grimes one. We talked about him yesterday. I wasn't as high on Grimes for yesterday. I'm definitely there for him again today. I mean, he's definitely somebody who's going to show up in 80, 90% of what I'm doing. But I have almost 100% of Tyrese Maxey at the moment. We were talking about his rates before this show, how he shoots the ball horrendous at times against teams that potentially, shut him down when Embiid and Paul George are out. This is the Utah Jazz. It feels not the same thing. Like one of these things is not like the other one. And there's a couple of these times that he's had to play Embiid because this is the way they've treated Embiid the last couple of years, Josh. They've played him in the easier of the 2 spots, right? And so a lot of the data that you're going to get for him is going to be Tyrese Maxey by himself taking on teams where Joel Embiid is the word is ducking to some extent, but there's a lot of these back-to-backs where they want to get the sure win. They want to make sure it gets done, and then they'll rest in the more difficult spot. And so Maxey's out there trying to fend for himself. This is Utah, though, so it completely doesn't make sense. The answer is probably just both of them, jamming both of them. The Justin Edwards piece, I get why he's pulling the ownership that he is, but amongst the top guys right now, there's no question I feel the most security with Grimes Maxey. I'm just playing him in a ton of lineups, and it's a lot of 6v6 stuff today.
The ownership there on Grimes and Maxey is just crazy. Honestly, the ownership on Maxey is crazy. Just looking at it, comparing him to SGA and Jaylen Brown, it's not like there's not anybody around him. You're still getting 40% ownership to Jaylen Brown. You're still getting 25 to SGA, which is implying that a lot of the times you're just getting 2 of these dudes. You're obviously getting 1 no matter what, but there's a lot of opportunities here to get 2 of them. So I guess the next question here is, do you prefer Jaylen Brown or SGA? because I think that is like, or the order of operations on these three guys means everything. I lean Jaylen Brown, but I don't know what to think here.
So Jaylen Brown is the positionality, and Charlotte's on the second leg of a back-to-back, but these are two very slow-paced teams that depend on offensive efficiency and making threes. Like, they're almost clones of, like, a lot of what Charlotte's done is just taking the prototype of what Boston's done and doing it in their way. Like, getting Connipple definitely helps. I mean, we're talking about some of the most revelatory rookies in him and Cooper Flagg this season that have just been outrageous for their ages. But Connipple, yeah, this Charlotte team is very, very similar to it, but it's a slow-paced basketball game. It's a trudging basketball game where if you're talking about like 95 possessions per 100, if we're talking about Jaylen Brown needing to like really find a ceiling here, we're going to need 38 minutes of him, probably 39 minutes of him, which is not out of the question by any means, but you're not going to get that with SGA. But with Jalen Brunson on the other side and just the just sheer volume that you're getting down, comes back against Denver, puts up 29 shot attempts, doesn't play in that overtime, which was kind of a crazy thing watching that game on Saturday. And then against Dallas, I mean, he was just on an autopilot, but like, we're talking volume, you're talking scoring, you're talking everything that you're getting there. The Jaylen Brown one, 9,800 for him. I'm not sure that I'm necessarily like Grimes. I'm playing a lot at shooting guard. We've already discussed that. I'm punting a lot with small forward. There's some interesting small forwards coming up later in the slate. Like, sure. I don't think the positionality does as much for me, and he's already around 40%. We're getting a little bit less ownership on SGA. So like, for me, I'm going to the tippy top with both of those guys here in the moment in my single entry. I just got into my normal 40 lineups that I'm doing here on this show as well. And I'm quite sure I'm going to be underweight to Jaylen Brown when it's all said and done.
The real interesting part is when you continue down this pay up tier and you see $9,100 Jalen Brunson, unowned. $8,800 LaMelo Ball, unowned. Chet, unowned. Relatively minimal ownership for Karl Anthony Towns right now, for Denny Avdia, for Derek White. Like, it's all at the top, or it's really not anywhere else outside of Towns. You know, who knows what we end up getting here with Denny, but the difference between going to two of these top guys and one of these top guys, I think, is a very different lineup construction. And I think we'll be able to run a couple of those lineups as we work our way through this. Do we want to flip it on its head now and start talking about some of these dumbass value plays that we have for today?
Not only that, I think there's like a lot of value that could potentially show up in a crazy way. I'm glad our tools are kind of on the same things I was looking at last night. So let's roll through it. Going to be good times.
So we've touched on Grimes, we've touched on Justin Edwards, but we've got more point per dollar plays coming from Philly. Cam Payne, 3,100, point guard, shooting guard eligible. He's 20% owned. Trendon Watford at 3,600 is 30% owned. Andre Drummond at 5,200 is the sixth best point per dollar play on the slate in our projections. He's 30% owned. We've already mentioned Maxey. Even Adem Bona has got a good point per dollar play. Not really getting any love. Barlow's getting some love. There's an infinite amount of value on Philly, and there's sort of an infinite amount of value coming in from Memphis, whether that's Walter Clayton, Javon Small, Omax, Cam Spencer's getting at least a little bit of love. Taylor Hendricks is getting a little bit of love. Is there a value guy out there? Let's ignore Grimes for this moment. Do you have some preferences in this value group?
Yeah, one isn't even on the screen right now, and the other one is Javon Small. I love these two guys today. They didn't play yesterday. They did not play basketball yesterday, the two guys that I'm talking about. And it just creates this spot where we're knowing Memphis is tanking and going about it their way. They're under-owned, massive leverage that has been coming in all day long on Javon Small and some of these Memphis guys. They're very much looking at playing 8 dudes today. 8 dudes. Taylor Hendricks is questionable. I assume he's not going to play, getting downgraded with an illness. And so you're talking about an 8-man Memphis rotation coming your way. I'm very in love with Javon Small, and I think Meshack is probably my favorite tournament play on the slate at the moment. I'm not going to nuke him of the night because there's a guy that just looks so good to me on the other side of it and could look better if we get Denny Avdia out. But I'm in love with the idea of playing both of those guys who did not play yesterday. I don't think they start. I think they still go to the Clayton Spencer deal, but it's not going to matter as much because, I mean, I'm just going to have some of this late swappability that is going to exist because I like getting to these Memphis pieces, these Portland pieces, with that Denny piece on the other side kind of waiting in the wings. I don't find it to be that difficult to play those guys. But obviously the guys who are pulling the ownership right now, and rightfully so, Grimes we talked about, Edwards makes a ton of sense at 3,500. And the campaign one, I don't mind it whatsoever. I mean, he did play 26 minutes yesterday. They don't care. Like, go out and play campaign. Looks like a pretty good fantasy producer under these circumstances without Paul George and Joel Embiid out there. I just get a little bit worried that if I get rid of, like, how much value do I really, really need? Do I need the shooting guard spot? No, I don't, with Grimes there. So, like, campaign is relative to some of these other pieces for me that are just so much lower owned at the moment. So I'm probably going to be going and leaning into the Memphis side of some of this value.
Yeah, they're looking. I mean, Clayton, Spencer, Wells, Gigi Jackson, Omax, Mashak, Small, Ryan Rupert re-signed earlier today. He was out of contract when the morning started. And then, assuming Hendricks doesn't play after the downgrade, there's a lot of minutes out there for somebody at some of these positions. I agree. I think Small looks great. We've got some really nice positive leverage on him at the moment. But it's all Philly and Memphis. Like, read down that value line. Philly, Philly, Philly. Memphis, Philly, Philly. Memphis, Memphis. Then we get Donovan Clingan popping in here as a 50% owned center. Then we're back to Philly, Memphis, Philly, Memphis, Philly. What is happening today? Donovan Clingan is the only dude that breaks up a literal sea of all of the Philadelphia and Memphis Grizzly players.
Yeah, and I'm just jamming him. Who the hell? So yesterday I said, maybe Rudy Gobert goes for, whenever he has 12 rebounds, whatever. Donovan Clingan could put up 25 rebounds today and not surprise me. Like, that's an actual range of outcome thing against Olivier Maxence Prosper, Gigi Jackson, and nobody. I mean, this is just going to be asinine what we see from Donovan Clingan. This guy is out of control when it comes to rebounding a basketball. I mean, those are his expected numbers too. Go to his actual numbers. I mean, they just defy logic. 17% offensive rebound rate, 27.5% defensive rebound rate. He is a 7.2, and he's closer to 7.3, according to a buddy of mine who is a diehard UConn fan and stood next to him. He's about 6'5 himself, one of my golf buddies. He's like, Donovan Clingan is the largest person I have ever seen in my entire life, and it's not remotely close. He goes, I just look at this Memphis roster. It's going to be like playing against middle schoolers. I felt that way yesterday for Rudy Gobert. It didn't come to all that fruition. He got in foul trouble early. Otherwise, I think we would have seen that. Donovan Clingan doesn't really get himself in foul trouble in these kind of spots. He is going to just rebound the basketball. I might take some of what I would have otherwise put to DFS entry fees, and I might just ladder him up to like 20 and see what happens, because I think that might be a decent way to utilize your bankroll today.
Yeah, there's a reason he's 45% owned, 58% optimal right now. He is going to soak up the boards and then some. He looks fantastic. I mean, he's the only thing that's stopping this run-on sentence of point per dollar players from Memphis and Philly. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12. There are 12 Memphis and Philly players separated by just Donovan Clingan. That's where all the value is.
Yeah,
shout out Donovan Clingan.
I guess it kind of makes, I mean, can you find some Brandon Miller in your life? Can you find LaMelo Ball? Like, who on this back-to-back is going to play a little bit more than we think in spots that can be that one piece of deviation? I'll say it this way. Do you have any, like, outside of Grimes, outside of Edwards, because he's 3K and we assume he's starting, is there anybody that you want to, like, really rah for? Because, like, for me, they're just the lower owned dudes on the Memphis side where it's like, I get to have a little bit more time, a little bit more news. Otherwise, I'm just kind of letting the Sims do its thing. Because, like, I don't know what to make of campaign at 19 minutes. I don't know what to make of Walter Clayton on a back-to-back in a spot they don't give a shit about him. Like, if I end up with a little more, a little less, like, I honestly just don't have takes today that are outside of, like, I want to play a ton of Donovan Clingan. I want to play a ton of the easy guys to play. And then it's like a bunch of rotating 3v3s.
I don't want to say it out loud.
Do it. I said Meshack. How does it get worse than that?
I mean, I think Campaign looks great.
Okay.
Now that comes with some complications of how you want to handle the rest of your Philly side. But, 19.1 minutes in our projections right now. He's more than a fantasy point per minute guy. Only 20% owned. Has the MPE. Played 25 minutes yesterday.
Yeah. Well, he started the second half once Edgecombe got hurt.
Yeah. No Edgecombe today. So, if we have him in for 19,
okay,
at the very least, I think he can play 25 again. Soak up some blowout run bullshit against Utah, too, if that happens to go that direction. But even in 19, this is a guy that we have 37% boom, 20% optimal. And I think, you start stacking 1 or 2 minutes on that projection, and he's 60% owned. I really like Campaign here.
Boy, I get it. I mean, you're going to have Maxey, Grimes, Edwards absorb so much ownership, and people don't want to, especially hand building, like playing single entry today. People don't want to play 4 or 5 Philly guys. That's probably the fun thing to lean into on this slate, is potentially just overstacking a specific team, playing 4 or 5 Memphis guys, and just, you would need Hendricks out. You'd want to have an 8-man rotation, and you just get the pieces correct that are going to absorb it most. Because in a closing lineup, 2 of your starters are starting in the Memphis side of it. For Philly, there's a number of guys Nick Nurse just doesn't want to roll out. We've seen him really against the idea of Kyle Lowry unless he's in Toronto. Marion Beauchamp, I haven't seen him on a floor since 1994. Campaign, I'm with you. I think that makes some sense, but it is a back-to-back where Jabari Walker playing more, Dalen Terry playing a little bit more. I'd think that they would get involved a little bit, but we don't have a lot of minutes coming in on them whatsoever. So yeah, the more I work through it, the more I'm maybe Campaign, considering I don't think Campaign starts though. Do you?
No.
It would be weird to me if they did the same second half thing. And generally we have the analysis of, they just did it then, they're going to do it here. I think it's different when you have a day heads up and you can kind of get the rotations you need to. Plus Utah on the other side, they're going to roll out Ace Bailey, Cody Williams, little different circumstances. Plus the Spurs game was just over. It didn't matter at halftime what they did.
No. I opened up my app and I was like, does that say 90 to 60? What's happening here?
I did say on the show yesterday that I thought that line, I'm a coward, the likes of which this world's never seen before, but I did say that line looked auspiciously closer than it should be for San Antonio coming off of a loss. And boy, that did not help. Wembanyama, the only dull spot, our projections just smashed yesterday. Absolutely smashed.
Yeah, I just keep staring at Campaign's name, and it's
of course you do,
tripping me up here.
Yeah. Why not Javon Small? I mean, 5,500, nobody's playing Javon Small, and he could play 30 minutes. I know that they don't want to play anybody 30 minutes, but they didn't play yesterday, so maybe just ramp those guys up. I also think there's a chance Javon Small starts.
If this helps you at all, because this might help where you're going. Assuming my stupid schedule bullshit isn't wrong that I'm looking at, they don't play again until Saturday.
Oh boy.
They want to play somebody a bunch of minutes, and they ain't gonna matter worth a shit. They got 3 days off.
Yeah.
So they can, if Memphis wants to be dumb and actually stretch some people tonight, they got plenty of breaks coming up after this.
I don't think there's going to do anybody. I don't think anybody's in risk of DNP CDing when there's 8 guys in the rotation potentially with Hendricks out. But I'm with you where somebody could end up eating a lot more minutes than projected. And Javon Small's the guy that I just keep staring at because he plays point. He can do a lot of different things. I wouldn't be shocked to see him start over Cam Spencer. We've seen this a couple of times where they just kind of want to give him a little bit of the run. Javon Small had been starting there even along, Cam Spencer went back to the bench. You knew after Pippen Jr. and Ty Jerome both played yesterday that they weren't going to play today. And kind of coming into this one, I knew I was going to have a lot of love for him. Glad to see where we're at, but I'm probably a little bit higher on Javon Small.
5, 6, 7. Yeah, 8. Brandon said Memphis not playing anyone over 30. They might have to if they only have 8 dudes.
And a bunch of them just got done playing yesterday, which you don't know what knick-knack stuff is going on with them behind the scenes, especially when you're an undersized team. I mean, Donovan Clingan, man, if you don't do it today, please put up the Moses Malone 25-25. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. She's coming home from Mahjong, so I guess that's a good sound effect.
I see where you're going there. I think Mahjong is at my house tomorrow. And that's not even I'm not even making a joke. That's a real statement.
Is that actually happening? That's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm almost positive, but I could be wrong. I could be dominoes. The wife bounces between.
I kept my phone on today. I was going to turn it off, and I was like, no, it'll give us something to talk about throughout this show. Because otherwise, what are we doing here? What are we actually doing here?
That was a good time. But circling back, though, for real, if there's 8 guys, 240 divided by 8 is 30. That means everybody plays 30. Obviously, that's not what it really means, but it might mean that somebody plays 40. Especially if you got a couple days off after that. So that'll be interesting to see. The Hendricks news will loom large. Here's what I think we should do right now. And I'm going to see if I could actually do this. Philly does not contain. Memphis does not contain. So right now, what I have on the screen is the ownership for today's slate without Memphis and without Philadelphia. 2 guys north of 25%, Donovan Clingan and Jaylen Brown. The third guy that's at 25 is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. All 3 of those names are super normal to talk about. Obviously, you play them. They're the type of guys that you play all the time. Dude, before I keep going, it's crazy how much chat is trying to talk themselves out of Quentin Grimes.
That's insane.
I can't wrap my head around it. Oh, he hasn't been playing well lately. Well, he also wasn't playing 30-something minutes at this salary then either. We forget what a salary and a playing time number is sometimes. The dude is the best play of the day. Hop into our post-contest Sims when this bad boy is over and go look at all the names that you're used to seeing at the top and then go see what they did with Quentin Grimes. You're about to overthink everything in your life.
Sounds like me, but point taken. I have him in 90% of lineups right now, so there's that.
I'm not saying, if you have 60, I'm not saying, that's crazy or anything. But the way people are talking, it's like, shit, I might just have 0. It's like, what are we doing here tonight?
I would love at 90% to see him at 70%. That'd be a rake-free day or something akin to it. So long as he doesn't turn his ankle, that'd be usually pretty good. Oh, but yeah, he hasn't played well lately, Josh. There's definitely that. It's Utah. We are playing the Utah Jazz, not the San Antonio Spurs. That, may I remind you, said yesterday, Stephon Castle. Must be nice to be Stephon Castle and get to play right up in somebody's jockstrap, knowing that you have Gumby behind with 45-foot arms that's just going to swat everything. What a good time to be alive if you're him. He's going to make Wemby's making Stephon Castle a lot of money. There's no question.
Let's talk through these non-Clingan Brown SGA dudes. Because it's Jeremy Grant at 20% owned, and then no one else is above that number. So what do we like that isn't in Philly or Memphis? Is it Towns, Josh Hart, Drew Holiday, Filipowski, Kamara, Brandon Miller, who was chalk yesterday and now is not chalk on a 4-gamer? We could have that conversation. There's a lot of big names that are getting absolutely 0 love.
Yeah, there's a lot of big names getting 0 love, but I get why they're getting 0 love at the moment. I've obviously brought up Portland a number of times. I think this is a spot where you look at Tamani Kamara, and then those minutes could get ramped up. Chris Murray's questionable. They do have Vit Krejci and Matisse Thybulle's back, who's been able to play a couple of spot rotations when they've needed him to. But like Tamani Kamara could end up getting ramped up in a major way if Denny Avdia is not there. And I do expect Chris Murray would be the most likely starter if Chris Murray's in and Denny's out. But like the Donovan Clingan thing is pulling ownership. Like the Portland guys are just interesting because of what they allow me to blend and do with Memphis. And Memphis, we're seeing positive leverage on a number of these dudes already, and you could have 8 of them. I would want to play a ton of them at their current ownerships, and we already have Philly pulling ownership. I'm hoping we get that news just before that Philly game, but after lock. Yeah. So during, the Greg Ehrenberg power hour, that would be very useful. But like, I think the answer for me is just a lot of the Portland guys that aren't getting a lot of attention. Like Clingan's obviously getting it, but Drew Holiday, no problem. Tamani Kamara, shooting guard, small forward, probably one of those guys that if you get one of those failures from the cheapies that are pulling ownership, your boy Campaign, or, if you have that 10% of lineups without a Quinn Grimes or whatever, like a 6K Tamani Kamara is never all that fun, but he runs into these inferno ceiling games. And at 6K, getting both Murray and Denny Avdia would be very, very useful. And I can't imagine against Memphis that they wouldn't be all right letting him just go out and doing his thing.
Yeah, it does feel like Portland's the team to like take some shots on, because when I look at somebody like the Knicks, obviously the matchup isn't great, but like in the grand scheme of things, it's a game where both teams are trying. And that matters to me just as much as anything. Like even if there's a gap in the talent, these two teams both are trying to win a basketball game tonight. You can't say that in most situations, but it's basically the same scenario that we always have for the Knicks. Like I don't think it's crazy if you have OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, Karl Anthony Towns. I don't even think it's that crazy if you play Jalen Brunson, and he looks fucking terrible today, because those guys are just the best dudes on a 4-game slate. And, like sometimes it's just guys that score that matter. But as I look at we're like, I don't know how the hell I pick something on Utah. Like I love Keontae George. He's had a fantastic year, but he's not going to play 35 minutes tonight. Ace Bailey, 6,300, small forward, basically unowned. Kind of feels a little sneaky today. But like, as you scroll down this list and you get into guys with like 1 in 5 chances of hitting their boom score, like we're loaded with these dudes right around 20%. So many of them are real names. Josh Hart, I'm going to say Nunez Kate is a real name, but we can talk about how far down that line we want to go. Keontae George, Avdia, Brandon Miller, Ace Bailey, Scoot if he could get any extra minutes, Hartenstein, Anunoby, White, Kamara, Bridges, Diabate. These are all real dudes with 20% boom scores. No ownership to speak of. You could see a lineup win with like 8 of these guys today.
You finally said my name. I've been keeping him to my vest. I've been keeping him close. You finally said the name that we were waiting for. So that's good times.
Scoot?
Dude, I cannot tell you how much I love Scoot Henderson at 4% today. I'm obsessed with Scoot Henderson. Like, Scoot Henderson is a fantastic fantasy producer. And what's happened recently is that they've ran into blowouts. Both of them, Atlanta and Charlotte, just completely ran him out of the gym. And a spot where, 24 minutes for him there. But like, we have now seen him get up to 30 minutes here recently. We've seen him get ramped up. We need to get Denny out to make it a thing. I'm not going to do it if Denny's not out, but Scoot Henderson closing down a game where they're 10.5 point favorites or whatever else at 3-4%, as opposed to trying to pick the name out of the hat. If you do get the Spencer and Clayton starters, like I'm still going to play Javon Small. I probably won't go to a lot of Meshack, but like we've got so many pieces of value that are just so popular right now. And I totally get why they are, but like, I need to hit tippy top ceiling. And when you see a 4%, 1.15 DraftKings points per minute producer with a middling minutes projection and a blowout could potentially work in your favor there. Like the Memphis guys are good because they have to play no matter what. 2 guys who start the game will have to close if Hendricks is out. That's just a stone cold fact. That's math. But who closes in the blowout situations on the other side? Scoot Henderson, get him some confidence going, have an opportunity to potentially ramp him up. And again, he's a really good fantasy producer, sub 6K. I just keep looking at these Portland guys. Kamara, if that game's more competitive. Scoot, if it's not, like, there's just so many ways. Eric's probably playing 2% of him. No, I have 40% Scoot Henderson as of right now, as of recording this. I knew he was a calculated stand. I knew I was always going to be there on him. I need my dudes to put up massive fantasy scores. If he plays 30 minutes at a 1.15 DraftKings points per minute rate, I am in heaven against Memphis.
I like the shout. There is one thing I would like to do, though. I wish I can go back in chats and see all the people that said that Scoot was going to be better than Wemby.
Oh,
I bet there were a lot of those messages in chat.
That's got to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, truly.
It's a big talking point.
I was never a Scoot guy because I didn't think
beginning
Scoot
of the rookie year. I was a Scoot guy, but it was like he obviously wasn't Wemby.
Yeah, nah. If anybody who denied Wemby is just silly, they're just silly people. Silly people.
Who said that? I mean, it was a real conversation point heading into that draft and then heading to Summer League.
Hopefully those people repented for their sins so that they can be saved when the great fires come.
Let's see. Realist EDM says they're probably fading Grimes. That's a good one, brother. I like that.
I have 100% now in my last run. So we have progressively gone up throughout this show. I was like, all right, he'll probably be, he was like 80, 90, 100 now. There's not a single lineup where he is not the shooting guard in it. Not a single one.
I'm looking through these boom scores now, just trying to figure out who stands out in this range.
Can I ask you a position? Can we go to small forward? What the hell are we doing at small forward today? Like, this position is pure. I mean, it's not quite AIDS. It's more HIV. Like, this is an HIV position because we have a 3K Justin Edwards that's showing up in 55%. That makes me uncomfortable. It makes me think that I'm on the brink of AIDS, and I don't like that feeling. I don't want it to be there. We currently have Hendricks in right now, but obviously you remove him. Jalen Wells props got completely nuked, and I'm assuming his ownership would come up a little bit. But Meshack is pulling no ownership. None. He didn't play basketball yesterday, and you brought up somebody playing a boatload of minutes just for the hell of it. He's that dude for me. I like him in some Scoot lineups and such, but small forward is definitely the position I look at today, and I'm like, what in the hell do we do? Because outside of Brown and Edwards, nobody's pulling ownership, and if Edwards doesn't start for whatever reason, that would be surprising, but like that ownership would come down and everybody would be on Jaylen Brown.
Thunder will start SGA, Wallace, Dort, Holmgren, Hartenstein. Just get that out there. Just popped up. I mean, as I look at small forward, I kind of like this mid-tier area. The problem is I don't know which dude it is. Whether it's Brandon Miller, whether it's Josh Hart, whether it's Ace Bailey, Bridges. You mentioned Kamara earlier. I like that area. I just don't know if it's a specific dude.
Got it.
I mean, I lean Brandon Miller, especially after yesterday. I like the price. Seems like he's getting slept on a bit. Matchup to me fits him probably better than others.
Yep.
Position
Agreed.
sucks. Like, what am I competing with at this point? We'll probably have a Ryan Rupert discussion, depending on when that Taylor Hendricks news ever comes out. Rupert will probably grab a couple extra minutes, but he's a dog shit per minute guy. Sensabaugh can make 100 threes. He does that every once in a while.
He really likes doing that, especially in games they're trying to lose in Miami. That was maybe the funniest win of the season by any team was Miami. 17.5 point favorites, I think it closed at, or 16.5, and they lost straight up to a team not trying to actively win a basketball game. That was good times.
Isaac Dietz, I think you are right, but I will never, ever say that.
Uh-oh.
It's not Rupert, but I'll never not say it as Rupert.
Why, do you love Rupert or something?
No, it's just like there's nothing in my life that'll ever let me read that word properly first. Like, read it French. I'll just, like, it's just always going to be Rupert.
Rupert? You can't do the...
Yeah.
No, that, yeah.
I mean, I can. It's just like, it's not a trigger when I read basketball names.
Got it.
Like,
names
if you're just scanning that, it's always Rupert in my brain.
Yegor Yeeman or whatever. I like, there's certain names that you see, and when I see it, my brain's like Igor Demon, and there's nothing I can do to unsync it. Like, I totally get
I haven't called him something other than Igor Demon since the moment I heard you say it.
So I was just like, what am I looking at? I had to go and watch YouTube to figure out how his name was actually pronounced. And then it just sounds better than Igor. Like, I don't know. It's just weird to me. Igor Demon.
I see where you guys are going here with Rudy Gobert, but that got established to me. Ryan Rupert's just a guy that shows up as the 11th dude on like 8 different teams. I've known Gobert's name since the moment that everybody kept saying it in the league.
Yeah.
When you're not a like a replacement level dude, it'll stick a lot easier. All right, I'm gonna just call him Rudy Gobert from now on. You guys did this to yourselves. We'll see how much you guys enjoy this when I don't ever stop calling him Rudy Gobert. Well, yeah, I'll never stop saying Jake Puddle. That's my favorite moment in the history of basketball.
Yeah, that's a legendary. Like, those aren't the same thing. We're not comparing the same thing with that. Come on, people.
I watch the Raptors trading DeMar DeRozan Game of Zones at least once every 3 months. I love it so much. It's so funny. That's Jake Puddle. When they throw the ping pong ball into the trade dinosaur's mouth and you like hear it bounce inside his stomach and then it hits DeMar DeRozan. I mean, I die laughing at that permanently.
It's pretty good.
God, I miss Game of Zones. That shit was fucking awesome. If you guys don't know what Game of Zones is, and you're a Game of Thrones fan, just go search for it right now and spend the next couple of weeks watching the however many seasons they did, because they're great.
Have a cookie or a brownie or your favorite edible as well while you do it. I just remember scrolling on my phone when I found it the first time. It was like, what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? It was huge. Was it Bleacher Report?
Oh, dude,
is that who did it?
6-7 years ago now.
Oh,
it's like COVID.
Long?
Yeah, it's real old.
Okay.
I mean, the what we're talking about right now is the Kawhi DeMar DeRozan trade. That's 2018, I think.
Yep. Man.
Yeah, it's a minute ago.
The one year Kawhi stays healthy, wins a title. Legendary, probably the most iconic final shot aside from MJ, like buzzer beater. The bounce in the air in that Game 7 against Joel Embiid is the coolest thing of all time. And obviously, yeah, Canada, they're one nice thing in sports against us, because it sure isn't hockey this year. Good times.
Oh yeah, we won. I didn't even remember.
Oh, yeah. You're fun. You're fun at parties. It's fine.
I totally forgot. I can't remember. It was too long ago now. All right, 6:39. I assume we're either getting an update right now or just got an update. Yeah, projections hit right now. Ownership was going to hit in another second or two. Now, this is not going to look all that different than what we had before. So once this pops up, KGDR, we are going to go to the FanDuel side and break down the top plays by position. But I'm going to wait until that ownership refreshes itself so we can give you guys the full update. Although it is realistic. Oh, there it is. I don't even have to keep filibustering. Okay. It's already here. At the point guard spot on FanDuel, it is very clearly Tyrese Maxey at the top of the list. He is 70% owned and optimal. Walter Clayton would be your other primary option. He also has shooting guard eligibility. SGA is close to 50% owned. That is the trio of priorities. I will let you now advocate for Javon Small.
Yeah, there's nothing that stops him from potentially starting today. Again, we have placeholders in everybody has placeholders. They're the right placeholders, by the way. They're the right guys to have, but like, there's a very real chance Javon Small plays a lot of minutes, even off the bench. And then there's a real chance that he starts and plays 32 plus minutes, and getting 8 bodies live there for Memphis would be awfully nice. Everybody in a Memphis jersey is kind of under-owned right now because of Philly.
I got to put this out there right now, Amy. I don't like abbreviating Guitar Z-Man's name as GZM, because that just looks like you said, thanks, Jism, you too.
Jism.
I read it and I was like, who are you calling Jism? And then I scrolled up and saw Guitar Z-Man was here. I'm a child, man. I'm a 41-year-old child in my brain.
I appreciate that about you, and that you're older than me. I appreciate that the most about you.
It's so hard. Dick fart jokes, man. I'm cooked. Any little giggle, man, it sends me. To shooting guard we go on the FanDuel side. Quentin Grimes is at the top of the list. 88% owned in optimal. Your number one play of the day on both sites. Please make sure you use our post-contest sims to see how many people that you see win contests all the time play Quentin Grimes and everything. Walter Clayton, north of 60% owned. He's going to be another option at the shooting guard spot. And then we get to Jaylen Brown, also available at small forward. Do you have any other shooting guards you want to touch on? Derek White, Mashak, Spencer, Ace Bailey. Some of these guys are all kind of the same.
Yeah, they're a lot of the same dudes. I mean, Derek White on FanDuel 8,200. He's gotten priced up to a place on DK where no thank you. No thank you. But definitely on FanDuel, you can get a little bit of exposure. Yet another reason, if you're able to, obviously for days of yore, for 5 years of doing this job, I was playing 2 sites every day, nonstop, maxing everything. And it just got to be too much where I can't give you the best information and, be a fully functional human being and do all the things I need to and play multiple sites. It's a lot of work. And so that being said, if you are watching this show and enjoying it every single day, you're kind of doing it wrong, not playing both DraftKings and FanDuel and being able to have some exposure to different players. It'll make some of the swings a little bit more gradual. It'll allow for you to take advantage on different days of different players showing up and different late swapping into different things. So I have 0% Derek White on DraftKings, but on FanDuel, I would definitely want to be ramping that number up.
At the small forward spot, it is still Quentin Grimes. It is also Jaylen Brown. This is where we first get to see a couple other guys with power forward eligibility, whether that's Justin Edwards, Josh Hart. Those are the 2 guys getting 30% ownership. So I think that's where that line stops. Power forward is probably the craziest thing to talk about on FanDuel because there aren't any true breakaway dudes. Justin Edwards, 35% owned. Cat 35% owned, Josh Hart 30 to 35, and then you get a pack of 6 more dudes that are in that 25 range. What do you like most at power forward on FanDuel here? Is that Towns just kind of by default?
Again, same thing I was talking about. I don't have a lot of Karl Anthony Towns on DraftKings.com against OKC at center only when you've got Clingan, the Kling Kong himself about to put up a ton of rebounds in the world. Karl Anthony Towns gets to play without Mitchell Robinson, but he's not very accessible where he is on DraftKings, 8,600, 8,500 power forward eligibility. Hello, hi. How are you this fine day? Definitely a great opportunity there. And then all the Memphis guys we've talked about. G.G. Jackson, 6,200. Might have to play a lot by default today. Put up a double-double yesterday. I was a little frustrated there was the late scratch from Santi Aldama because that would have been kind of an interesting piece, although probably wouldn't have got him to him on DraftKings. He was 6,300, but definitely would have bet his double-double. And there's that. What happened? What are people saying? Prosper equals Nuke? No,
I don't.
Absolutely.
I think chat's just being chat.
Oh, that's chill. Cool.
You're all good. But finally, for the center position, Donovan Clingan, 7,700, the most owned and optimal center option. Towns is here. Omax is here. Barlow and Watford are all here. But if we're talking about individual centers, it's a runaway for Donovan Clingan right now.
And it should be.
It should be. So that gives us all of the top plays on FanDuel. We knew we were going to get there eventually. We also knew we were going to get here eventually. Nuke of the night. It's Nuke of the Night time. Here we go. I'm excited to hear what you got, but I think I already know where you're going, but I'm going to let you do it again anyway for the people that haven't been here just yet.
I'm ready for a Portland blowout win. I'm ready for it. There are so many different ways that Portland is going to handle a spot like this that could just work to our benefit. First off, considering the spread, I do have Denny Avdia less likely to play basketball today. I need him out for this to come to fruition. Otherwise, I don't want you coming at me. I don't want you saying anything, but why would you want to push Drew Holiday in a game like this? Why would you want him to go nuts in a game like this? I think he's fine if if he goes completely nuts in 26 minutes against Memphis. Awesome, sweet, great, grand, whatever. Scoot Henderson is so interesting on this slate because he's surrounded by guys who are going to pull more ownership. We're going to have, a million dudes that are locking early for the Philly spot if this news is not out yet. I already like Javon Small. I've already talked about Meshack, a guy who didn't even play yesterday. Both of those guys are interesting. You need Hendricks out to look a little bit better, but I've backloaded some lineups to Portland, Memphis, and one of the guys that just isn't getting ownership whatsoever in it that I've currently got, I trimmed him down 25% of lineups. So 24% of lineups out of my top 40 here. Scoot Henderson, Nuke of the night.
I'm excited to see this one play out.
22
I want him to
minutes,
just be
5 fantasy points. Great. It's going to be fun.
Incoming. I'm going a different direction. This guy's just underrepresented, especially after yesterday. I've mentioned it a couple times, and I'm going to go that direction now. 6th in leverage at this moment. A complete wasteland of a position. $7,800 Brandon Miller. Small forward eligible. 7.5% owned. 10% optimal. He's got the 20% boom score. Do I like a matchup against Boston? No, not really, just from like a DFS perspective, but they do give up a boatload of mid-range shots. That's the only thing that is like to his advantage here. He's clearly going to let the threes fly. Charlotte could just win this game outright. And because he plays small forward, if he had an MPE, I would be really singing his praises, but he is at the worst position of the day today. So I'm going to just go to a guy like Brandon Miller who didn't really do what we expected yesterday. And now I think he goes crazy at 7.5. Brandon Miller, Nuke of the night.
I could not love that more. We talked about small forward. I'm playing Brandon Miller in single entry today. So my 2 points of deviation on this slate are Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson around 6 very, very chalky individuals. It is really, really hard to get away from playing a lot of these chalky guys on a 4-game slate, but we've got news that can break our direction for my Nuke of the night. I need Denny out. I need that for sure to come to fruition. And then for you, I just think it's a position that's absolute dog shit that people can't possibly get to a lot with Justin Edwards pulling as much ownership as he is. So yeah, can we get a Brandon Miller ceiling game? I'd be cool with that. I'd also like the Celtics to run away with this one. That'd be useful too. But I'm with you too, where, both teams are kind of set up the same way. And Brandon Miller definitely seems like the guy who could potentially get his own shot in a very difficult matchup for everybody else.
Langston Cole hit us with the super chat. 3 sleeper low-owned picks. DFS. Thanks for all that you do. So I sorted the data hub right now for everybody that's 10% owned or less. So just single-digit ownership dudes. And that's what I have on the screen. I've sorted it by boom percentage just to shout some of these guys out. And we're going to be shouting out my Nuke here. Keontae George, Adem Bona, Brandon Miller, Kada, Hartenstein, Scoot. Both of our guys, sub 10% owned. Top of the boom list for those guys. Ace Bailey, Meshack, OG. I mean, obviously you and I are going to say that Brandon Miller and Scoot are our 2 low-owned sleeper plays.
Meshack as well.
Anunoby for me as well, sort of in like the same vein as Brandon Miller. Again, I wish he had an MPE, but these feel like the type of games that OG Anunoby gets up for. Like when he has to play against somebody else really good and he's involved more, other than when he's just like, I don't have to guard this main jerk off on some team that sucks. Like he's just like not paying attention as much. So I could see the sneak spot for OG Anunoby, but I think you and I are going to be on Brandon Miller and Scoot. And you said Meshack?
Yeah, Meshack. And I get a little worried. I would say Kada, if it weren't for Kada putting up like 60 last game, I get a little bit worried that might get clicked on a little bit by the old box score watchers. That's still a thing, I believe, in the world. So for me today, there's no question that I'm a big fan of getting contrarian with that late game and finding ways that Memphis could potentially be playing with 8 and that, Philly just continues to struggle on offense. Neither of those are foreign ideas. So there's that. I also get a little worried Adem Bona starts over Drummond just because of how bad yesterday went. Like they could just, pull the quick hook there, but that would change it up. Wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. I think it's closer to like 50-50, but that would make him look much, much better at 3,700. And center again, outside of Kling Kong, not very good.
One thing that isn't 50-50, this is 100%. Greg Ehrenberg will be here in 8 minutes plus for live after lock. He's going to hook you guys up with some looks into the stochastic props tool, handle any late swap opportunities that pop up for you guys, maybe find some live arbs. Who knows what he's going to unearth, but we have plenty of tools to use on Stochastic and OddsShopper for him to find all of the goods. So he will be here shortly, right after lock. We are still working our way to lock. We're getting so many Ryan Rupert questions that I just need to get this out. If Taylor Hendricks plays, do not play Ryan Rupert in any significant amount of lineups. I think that's a safe statement to make.
Fact. If Hendricks is out, everybody's live to play 26 plus minutes. Every single person wearing a Memphis jersey could play 26 plus minutes. How many could actually get to 35 is the question. But yeah, you divide 240, because again, 240 minutes are what you're splitting up. And you did the math earlier where you're talking through it specifically where, 30 of each person gets you to 240. There's going to be somebody who plays a little bit more, somebody who plays a little bit less. Ryan Rupert goes in the less bucket. I'm just going to throw that out there as well. Ryan Rupert, far less likely to play 30 minutes, I believe, than more. So, yeah, if they get down to 8, it's going to be fun times.
Just to put this out there, he has, at this moment, the lowest points per minute, the lowest projection, the lowest ownership, the lowest optimal, and by far the lowest boom score of any other player on Memphis. Just until we get news on Taylor Hendricks, he's just a no.
Yeah.
He's just a no.
I just get a feeling this starting lineup is going to make us laugh. It's coming. It's so coming.
It's going to be like dial on, just 5 Ryan Ruperts. Fucker's going to play 240 minutes on his own.
Did prefer that to actually playing basketball this year. Sure.
Nothing makes me feel better than these guys poo-pooing someone I'm interested in. Well, it shouldn't make you feel better. It should just make you feel like you're not pointing yourself in the right direction.
Yeah. Which brings me to my next point. We
didn't randomly generate this data.
Yeah, this is not happenstance. This is not let's pin a tail on the dumbass or something. Yeah, it's just not.
Now, as I've mentioned, if and when Taylor Hendricks gets ruled out, they've got 8 guys to play 240 minutes. So that's a lot then. If we give Ryan Rupert 5 more minutes, he'll still look like shit, but he will look better than he does at this moment. And he will be much more playable than he is right now. Think about that. At this moment, Meshack is 8% owned. Rupert's at 3.5%. If Hendricks goes, I think every single person in this rotation will be easily north of 10% owned.
They should be. Right?
Bonkers.
Outside of, Rupert is less appealing to me than Meshack. Meshack should play more. He did not step foot on the floor yesterday. So there's just an upside there. I like it more. Can you say Rupert and Gobert 10 times fast? That'd be fun.
Rupert, Gobert, Rupert, Gobert, Rupert, Gobert, Rupert, Gobert, Rupert, Gobert. That's really easy to do, honestly.
Sound like a frog.
Rupert. Oh
my God.
I like it. Budweiser. KGDR gave us another one. 2v2. Hart and White or Towns and Bailey?
Towns and Bailey.
Yeah, it's Towns and Bailey for me too, although Derek White does look better on FanDuel.
He sure does.
Scheme Dreaming says it's a pizza party type night. Okay. If that's a reference to something, I don't get it. But to me, every night is a pizza party type night.
Yeah, it's good times. I'm here for pizza.
There's never been a time in my life where I didn't want pizza.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I've ever turned it down ever.
I can't imagine.
Unless it's like ultra margarita where it's not even sauce. It's just like a whole tomato. Fuck that. I don't need that in my life.
My wife's biggest fear is that our future kid ends up with somebody who doesn't like pizza. She actually legitimately said that out loud the other night. She's like, if I had a
child that brought home someone that didn't like pizza, I'd make sure they never came back.
She's like, what if if they date somebody who is gluten-free just for choice, like go fuck yourself. I'm like, that's
here we go.
True.
Now we're gonna start firing shots at Greg. Greg's coming in hot about this pizza conversation in 3 minutes. I know it's coming,
dude. But here's the thing, Greg, it's good for him. It's a health thing. It's not like he's doing it because he wants to save the little wheat thins out in the middle of the country. Like, he's doing it because I'm sure if you would want pizza. I'm pretty positive. Pizza.
Yeah, I don't know if he wants Little Caesars. That's probably what's making him sick, if that's what he's eating. Little Caesars isn't the answer. But yeah, no, if it's a choice. If a girl comes in, she's like, ew, icky, pizza, get out.
Yeah.
Get out.
Immediately cut it off. Call it a day. You weren't meant to be together. We're going home.
All right. We're going to go reverse Nuke of the night before we finish this off.
Oh, man.
Grimes, Maxey, Edwards, Clayton, Clingan, Jaylen Brown. Those 6 names are 40% owned or higher. 2 of them fail. Who are they?
Justin Edwards. And I ended up on more Jaylen Brown for what it's worth for the people who were listening. Ended up Brandon Miller, but ended up right around the field a little bit over on Jaylen Brown in the Sims. So I rescind that statement from earlier. God, definitely not Clingan. I'm not saying that. I'll go Watford.
Not one of the names.
Drummond.
Neither one of those were choices.
Yeah, they were. Or sorry, yeah, Drummond.
Jaylen Brown and up. Grimes, Maxey, Edwards, Clayton, Clingan, Brown.
God, I Clayton purely because of what other guards I might want to play on Memphis on a back-to-back. But he's not going to fail. Just I like the other Memphis guys more than I like Walter Clayton at their ownerships. So I'm under on Clayton, but we'll see what happens with Hendricks. And the guy that I think fails the most out of everybody up top there, Justin Edwards.
Yeah, I'm going to say Maxey Clayton. And it's not that I don't like Clayton. It's just that I think that there are going to be so many Memphis options that you can get off of that piece. And then for Maxey, it's just sort of a combination of ownership and where the other pay-ups are.
Very fair.
He's got to beat Shea first. And then there becomes an even bigger conversation after that. So I'm going to say Maxey Clayton. Not that I don't like those guys. I really like the idea of like a campaign Quentin Grimes lineup without Maxey that has like SGA and Jaylen Brown in it.
Yeah, I in my defense, I was just getting my lineups in, so didn't want to, be a complete jerk there. But yeah, I didn't listen there for a second. My apologies.
Oh, that's fine. I don't mind. I'm well aware of those situations, and you should be prioritizing your lineups in those spots. I would never tell you any different.
There we go.
Besides, what am I saying that's interesting enough for you to hear it at that moment? We've been here for 59 minutes and 50 seconds. I'm fresh out of good stuff.
You did a great job directing the ship because, I mean, obviously this is one of those that very much could have gone sideways in multiple ways. So you did a good job. You did a good job directing us. There we go.
Well, we're not going sideways any longer. We are going straight ahead into live Afterlock with Greg Ehrenberg. So hit the like button if you haven't done it yet. Show Greg a good time as he comes in here to talk to Eric about how he just talking mad shit about his lack of pizza abilities.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely because I'm a giant pussy. It's not that I don't like pizza. My body just doesn't know what to do with it. It's like, what are you trying to kill us? If I have dairy, I'm essentially poisoning my body and I get food poisoning for like 2 to 3 days.
Chris Murray out. That's not the one that matters.
Denny was ruled out too.
He was just ruled out too.
Oh,
yeah.
There it is. Chris Murray out. Denny Avdia out.
Yeah, so this is going to be a fun slate to look at some late swap here. We're going to have the updated projections on Portland coming soon. And then Taylor Hendricks shouldn't matter, but he does because this is the current state of NBA roster. So This is going to be oh, and another one. Bona starting at center for the 76ers.
Yep,
I think Eric said that that was what he was. Do I give Eric credit for that or Josh? I thought it was Eric who said it.
No, it's Eric. It wasn't me.
All right. So
Nick Nurse is a giant pussy and just overreacts.
I'm about to be busy swapping lineups here.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm about to go order a big cheese pizza.
Y'all have fun, guys. Boys. And by boys, night. I mean just Greg.
Yeah.
I'm still not in the, like, it used to just be me sending this one to the two of you and I would get out of here. I'm still not used to live after lock.
You do get out of here in the most awkward way humanly possible every single time. You're like, okay, just, here we go. Bye.
I don't have an issue with it. Get out of here. Get out of here. Eric, go swap your lineups. Josh, you got to go call Eric's mom. Guys, we got a show today because we have, like we just went over, some real injury news here. So we're going to have to work on late swaps here for the next, 10, 15 minutes as soon as stuff starts to update. Also, now we have in here, which I'm very excited about, the NBA rates tool now, which is something that Josh had worked on with the devs here. So now I could actually go through some of the on-off court numbers with you guys while we're here on screen, and we can make some kind of determinations about that. So I'll show you guys how to actually use this now, but we'll go to, meant to click on the Portland Trailblazers, but obviously had a misclick there because I got excited. So Portland Trailblazers, let's take Denny off the court. And yeah, we're going to take Denny off the court. And yeah, just Denny's going to be the only one who really matters all that much. Chris Murray being out, sure, whatever. Matters for some guys' minutes. But for the actual purpose of player rates, I'm most interested to take Denny off the court and see what that does for the individual players here. And then, of course, as per usual, if you guys have any questions as we go here, leave them in the YouTube chat. If you're a Stochastic sub and you're in Discord, hit me up, and I will certainly be on the lookout for any questions that you guys have about any of these situations here. So let's see what we have here. I'm going to look at some of the per 36. Why did I not take? Oh, because I'm an idiot. I put Denny Avdia on. I meant to swap him to off. There we go. Denny Avdia off. First day for me using it. Forgot to swap it from on to off there. By the way, E Galagos, is this a question that was answered to you by Josh and Eric? It says, how do I fix this lineup? Maxey, Small, Miller, Prosper, Clingan, Henderson, Edwards, Clayton. Well, a lot of stuff is about to change on the slate anyway, considering the Denny Avdia news, and then also the starting lineup that we just got from the Philadelphia 76ers. I want to see what some of our projections look like here in a second. But I think there's just a lot of like Justin Edwards is not starting now. So he was somebody who looked like a really strong option, who is now not going to look nearly as good of an option. Because we have here, wait, did the 76ers change their lineup again? Let's see. Okay, no, this is it. All right, so we got the 76ers starting Maxey, Grimes, Watford, Barlow, and Bona. So first thing to say there is I'm going to look at our projections when they update in a couple of minutes, but Justin Edwards is just not a massively appealing option anymore. Just not all that appealing relative to what he was before. But let's look here at some of the per 36 numbers. Scottie Pippen Jr. officially ruled out. And you guys could see within here what some of the changes are for the individual players now, given the news that we have with there being no Denny Avdia tonight. There we go. Another piece of news that drops. Taylor Hendricks has been ruled out. All right. So we're about to do like wholesale late swaps with a lot of stuff. The good thing is there was only one game that locked at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know about you guys. I had, I have 30% exposure to SGA. I had like 20% of Cat, and what did I have of Brunson? I had Brunson. I'm looking at my NHL lineups. That's not going to help me figure this out. So of Brunson, I have, only a couple of lineups of Brunson. I do have 15% of Josh Hart. But in general, I have a lot of room for late swap. This is almost like an entirely different slate than what it was 20 minutes ago. But anyway, looking at some of the changes in usage here, well, I guess Shaden Sharp is out. I should have taken him off the court as well. Scoot Henderson's going to be really interesting to me because Scoot for the year, 26.6% usage rate. That goes up to 27.3% when you take Denny Avdia off the court. And also, Scoot is somebody who you would think the Blazers want to be invested in and continue to play him more minutes as the season goes on. He's still very young. Scoot is only 22 years old. We're not all that far removed from there actually being people who said they preferred Scoot Henderson to Wemby in the draft a couple of years ago. And when we've actually seen Scoot on the court this year, the shots haven't been falling as far as the three-pointers go, but he's shooting nearly 90% from the free throw line. He increased his three-point percentage last year as well. I'm interested to see what Scoot's ownership ends up being, but seeing the usage bump on him, that is going to be something that makes me interested in him as a potential contrarian option. And another one, Drew Holiday gets a pretty big boost as well, going from a 23.5% usage rate to 26.1% in the minutes that he's played without Avdi. And we've also seen bigger minutes from Drew Holiday as of late. So I'm pretty excited that we have all the on-off court data now on the site, so we could use it right here. And I don't have to go to add more funds or something like that to go ahead and try to find some of the, is Drummond really starting now? Let me see. At least Underdog 76ers from their Twitter handle. The 76ers Twitter handle says Bona. Huh. So where are you guys seeing Drummond now? Because the 76ers, I've got it right here on my, if you guys go to the Philadelphia 76ers Twitter account, now we got a mystery here. The 76ers tweeted out Tyrese Maxey, Quentin Grimes, Dem Bona, Trenton Watford, and Dominic Barlow as their starting five. All right. Yeah. All right. The official lineup has Drummond starting. Boy. What confusion do we have here now? All right. Well, let's see what we end up doing with the end of NBA season could not be just the smallest things teams end up fucking up. I would say it's unclear as of right now. I'm like 50-50 on whether Bona or Drummond end up starting. So here's the scenario we have. The actual official starting lineup for the 76ers, it has it has Drummond in it. But the 76ers tweeted that Bona is starting. There's the confusion. There's different sources that are saying different things. And I don't know how trustworthy the 76ers Twitter account should be a very reliable source. But it could have just been an admin error here as well. Oh boy. Let's see. I assume Rich is going to take a second here to confirm this before updating projections. And we've still got 21 minutes here to make some adjustments. So it's not like it's immediate that we have to do it this second. Obviously, we want it in the next few minutes. But if we don't have it right now with 20 minutes to go, that's still okay. But let's see. 76ers beat writers are saying Bona now. I think it's most likely Bona. That's what I think is most likely. Let's see what's going on in Discord. Was Rich posting in there? We'll see. Maybe Rich will weigh in the it'll end up being they'll start 6 players and it'll be Bona and Drummond both in the front court and they'll play 6-on-5. It's not like the Utah Jazz are going to give a shit. They're trying to lose anyway. Here we got SMP saying Adam Aronson, a beat reporter for the team, says Bona and said Nurse mentioned Drummond as a starter in the past tense. Okay. Let me pull up that tweet, so I'll read it off for you guys. So that is from Adam, who is usually a pretty reputable beat reporter for the 76ers. I will read off exactly what he says here. His Twitter handle, by the way, is @SixersAdam. Here's what he says. He says 76ers starters tonight: Tyrese Maxey, Quentin Grimes, Trenton Watford, Dominic Barlow, Adem Bona. And then what he says here, he asked Nick Nurse pregame if he reconsidered his longtime arrangement of starting Andre Drummond over Adem Bona. He did not commit to that, but acknowledged it was a possibility. He briefly mentioned that arrangement in the past tense, which was a tell. All right. I think it's most likely going to be Bona that starts. Beat reporters are saying it's Bona. The 76ers tweeted that it's Bona. And then there's some mix-up where the official submitted lineup ended up having Drummond there. And here's what Rich says. Rich says, given it a minute or two because the NBA app was showing Drummond, but can't wait too much longer. So going to update for Bona shortly. Makes sense. Makes sense. Given all of the, I don't think we could say 100% certain, and hopefully there's going to be clarity in the next few minutes, but it seems like Bona's the starting guy. I'll say with like 75% certainty, it's Bona starting at center. And as soon as Rich updates all these projections, we'll pull them all up on screen. We'll see what the updated projections look like. Then I'll run everything through the late swap tool and let you know how that ends up changing my starting line or my exposures here. Here's Emacs official projection. He's going with a 6 to 7% chance that it's Drummond. John Cena it's always Bona time. It is always Bona time. So something else to consider here. Bona is $3,700. He has a great matchup against Utah. We got him projected as a 0.89 fantasy point per minute guy. You don't have to give Bona very many minutes for him to end up projecting pretty well. So I am pretty sure I am going to end up playing some of Bona today. I say it's Bona time. Nothing like a bunch of guys hanging out on streams talking about Bona, right? Landon, what's the most amount of 76ers I should have in my lineup? Well, keep in mind, it's a small slate as well. There are a bunch of appealing looking options from the 76ers. Like if you had 4 76ers in a lineup, that's not problematic at all. Not an issue. And yeah, for people asking about Justin Edwards, he's going to look significantly worse. And I'm sure that will be reflected in our projections because Justin Edwards still playable because he's min price, but we were expecting him to start. We had him project for 26 minutes and 0.83 fantasy points per minute. My best guess is that Rich is probably going to lower the minutes on Justin Edwards by like 4 to 5 minutes. And that's going to then put Edwards at like 16 fantasy points or so. Still playable on a small slate, but not nearly as good as he looked before. Not nearly as good as he looked before. Clarence, have you seen my Bona? No, show it to me. Show it to me. Yeah, Guitar Z-Man, just here for Greg's Bona news. That's why we're all here, always. All right, we got some questions in Discord here. DK801, what do I expect to get a lot more of now with the Portland news and the Philly starting lineup? So for Portland, I mean, Clingan we were already playing a lot of. I had Clingan in, 60% of line? Yeah, I had 61% of Clingan. So I'm still going to get to a lot of him. But beyond him, I didn't have like a massive amount of Portland before. I assume I'm going to get to more of Jeremy Grant now. I assume I'll get to a little bit more of Drew Holiday as well. As far as the 76ers go, I'm going to lose Drummond exposure. I'm going to get Bona up. I'm going to end up with less of Justin Edwards. I already had a shit ton of Quentin Grimes. That's not going to end up changing. Oh, here we just got the projections update. This will be even more telling. Okay, here we go. Let's look at Philly. Philly to start. So if we look at the projections on Philly now, we have... Oh, it's still showing Drummond as the starter for now. Let's see. Let me refresh this one more time. All right, here we go. So, okay, the tags haven't been changed, but the minutes are updated. So you see we have Bona for 25 minutes and Drummond for 22 minutes. So it is reflected in our projections here. So we have Bona at 22.23 fantasy points at $3,700, makes him a really strong value option. We have Trenton Watford, looks really good now. Trenton Watford, who I had some of Watford before, 26%. Watford's probably going to be one of my most rostered players now. Watford and Grimes look like the two best value options on the slate. Andre Drummond now at $5,200 only projects for 25 fantasy points. He's going to look significantly different now. And yeah, I figured that out when I saw the minutes there, Rich. So for anybody who's watching right now, ignore the tags right here, but the projections are updated. We have Bona in for more minutes than Drummond. We are projecting Bona to be the starter here. So Bona looks much better now. Drummond looks worse. Watford looks really good now. And then you got Justin Edwards in here. Still playable. I was expecting before I said like 16 fantasy points. We've got Edwards in for 17 fantasy points. He's okay, but I think he's going to end up going a little bit over-owned on the slate with people being a little bit slower to react to this news. Okay, Portland now. Here's what we got for Portland. The Portland situation with no Denny Avdia. We've got Vit Krejci expected to start in our projections, and Krejci at $3,800 project for 22 fantasy points. He's somebody who ends up looking solid now. I didn't have any exposure to Vit Krejci. That's going to change when I run everything through the late swap. Talked about Scoot Henderson as a more contrarian option to like. We do have him projected for 21% ownership. That's a little bit higher than where I thought he was going to be. But at $5,800, we have him projected for 31.5 fantasy points. He looks really solid. And then there's little changes in projections to both Drew Holiday as well as Jeremy Grant. They're both projecting a little better, which just makes sense. You take somebody like Denny Avdia off the court, and everybody else is going to look a little bit better for Portland, not just somebody like Vit Krejci or Scoot Henderson who are playing more minutes. And then keep in mind, too, usage boost for Scoot Henderson based on what we saw before when it came to us looking at the on-off court tools. So now I'm going to start getting everything ready to run my late swaps for this slate. Oh, you know what I forgot? We have to look at Memphis as well. Forgot to look at the updated projections on Memphis because Taylor Hendricks is out. So I'll give you guys that information as well here. Javon Small. We have Javon Small now projected for 37 fantasy points. We've got Walter Clayton for 31 fantasy points. So you're going to see really high projections on these guys. Here's why. Look how many players are available. Small, Clayton, Maxence Prosper, Cam Spencer, Meshack, Rupert Wells, Gigi Jackson. 9 active players for Memphis. Crazy value spot now because these guys are all fairly cheap and there just aren't guys to play minutes. So there's a ton of value on Memphis. Now this changed the slate entirely. Everybody who was questionable got ruled out pretty much. And then we got the weird starting lineup changes. This should make for a really good slate now. Like if you guys are using the stochastic tools and the post-contest sims and the late swap tool, we should see that because whenever there's slates like this where there's a lot of changes, it usually ends up meaning that when you're making late swaps, you end up with the higher sim ROIs. So these are good slates for us. Zachary Cooper asking about the late night FanDuel projections. I'm going to circle back to this after we do late swaps here, just because it's a little bit more time sensitive. Sal in the chat, he says, nice haircut. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, nice haircut. We're talking about bonus today. It's good times. McGint wants to know, he says, first time using late swap. When the options give me 15 options, where do you start by figuring out here? Just go to favorite, and then on the drop down menu on the right, click top ROI swaps. That's what you want to select. Bronx Boy Rob says on DK, a garbage 1v1 left, Justin Edwards or go Campaign. Who does better off the bench? So I think we have Payne projected higher now, do we not? We have Campaign. Yeah, we've actually got a pretty decent gap between them. Campaign for 21 fantasy points and Edwards for 17 and change. Campaign over Edwards. Truffles, did I get to any Meshack? I've been talking, so I haven't gotten to do my late swaps yet, which I should get on. So I don't know exactly what my exposures are yet, but I'm working on it. Trying to multitask. Jag 260, thoughts on Walter Clayton as a pivot to Grimes in a high dollar contest trying to get different? I don't hate that. So I'll say this. I still think you should play Grimes, but Walter Clayton's also a very solid option. And now, if I start talking a little bit less, it's just because I'm working on my late swaps and making sure that I have this done before the games lock here, because we got 10 minutes now. Now we're actually getting to the crunch time. Ooh, Keyshawn George out 3 weeks with a pitcher injury, the UCL tail. He needs Tommy John surgery. Mastermind, I only have SGA in right now. Keep Maxey or go more bounce. There's enough value that you could very easily play Maxey and SGA in the same lineup. That is not a problem at all. That is actually pretty easy to do now, especially with all the Memphis value. One thing I'm interested to see, I don't know how much exposure you guys had to Quentin Grimes before. Quentin Grimes still looks really good, but I had Quentin Grimes before this in like 95% of lineups. I wonder if that comes down a little bit just because of the amount of value that opened up on Memphis. We just have more options now. Let's see. Is there anything else that I want to get to here? Yeah, I could refresh the projections here. All right. I am ready to run everything through the late swap tool. All right, I'm kicking this off. I'll let you guys know what big changes end up happening. See if there's any other super chats that came in here. Just the one from Mastermind Magruder. We do have the super chat here from Zach Cooper. I'll get to that afterwards. Chad Chandler, do I like Vit Krejci? How about Watford? I like both of them. Watford is a definitely stronger option between the two, though. If it's just like a 1v1, you're picking between them. Watford. Watford's your guy. And I see we got questions in Discord as well. All right, so we have here, Bees and you ask, Small and Prosper or Scoot and Wells? Small and Prosper. Javon Small projects outrageously well for us now. So the Javon Small side. The next question here, it is from Einsteinium, Jaylen Brown or Maxey? Maxey over Jaylen Brown for me. I have more exposure to Maxey. And I assume I'm still going to have more exposure to Maxey after doing this late swap. So Maxey for me. Maxey's my most rostered spend up option on the slate. He's the one I get the most of. And I've got late swaps running now. Next question we've got from Jansen's. He says, can I use the and one live contest pool for the 4-point player? Should I be generating a pool? Yeah, you can use the and one. That's no problem. They're both 20 max contests, fairly low dollar. They're going to be pretty comparable. All right, late swap running. I kicked that off. Let's see what other questions you guys have for me while I'm updating everything. KG, Scoot or Small? I mean, look at the projection that we have on on Small now. We have Small for 34.72 fantasy points compared to 29.76. So I like Scoot a lot, but I have to go with Small just based on what our projections are there. Our data really, really likes Javon Small. All right, I'm going to do one more run of late swap here. So I still had a couple of lineups left with Taylor Hendricks, which obviously I don't want that. So I want to do one more swap just to make sure I get everything looking how I want it to. And for people asking about bets, yeah, I know this has been a little bit more late swap heavy, but we're going to do bets after the next couple games lock here at 7:30. So we absolutely will get to bets. Just want to make sure that we get all of our lineups updated because this was a pretty significant change to the slate. All right, so biggest change for me, I only have 8% of Justin Edwards now. as far as guys I have less of. I have 74% of Trenton Watford now, 27% of Scoot Henderson. I've got Drew Holiday in 31% of lineups. As far as pay up guys, yeah, Maxey's the one I have the most of. I have 73% of Maxey. So Maxey, my most rostered spend up. I'm going to upload these. I'll do one more late swap run because I can. We got enough time. And there might have been a scoring update that came through as well. So I'll make sure that that's taken into account. And this will probably be my last late swap run. Caveman says he likes Edwards more now. Okay, that's a contrarian take. I like him less not starting. I mean, I guess from your standpoint, you're saying you think he's going to be lower owned, which true to an extent. I mean, I'm just making an educated guess. That's why you like him more now. But oftentimes when there's this kind of late breaking change to the starting lineups, the field doesn't really react as much as they should. So I think Edwards is still going to be fairly popular. Like, I don't think this is going to, it's going to drastically lower my exposure to him, but I think the field is still going to play him at a pretty high clip. All right, this should be my final late swap run now because, I mean, just not enough time. For the person who asked, am I getting Meshack exposure? I have 13% of Meshack now, so a little bit, nothing crazy, but he's showing up in some lineups. And these should be good now. All right, let's see if you guys have any final questions for me to answer here before we get to these this next lock. Beezy New Ash just saying thanks. See if there's any super chats. Some people still speculating that think Drummond is starting. It could happen. You never know. As far as Bona, I did not get to very much of Bona. I have under 10% of him. I only have a couple of Drummond lineups. I hope Drummond doesn't start because I have 3% of him. My preference is for him to not be starting. Well, I have a ton of Walter Clayton now. I have Walter Clayton in 65% of lineups, so a lot of him. Here are my most rostered players. Quentin Grimes, Trenton Watford, Tyrese Maxey, Walter Clayton. Those four are my most rostered guys. And yeah, Nolan. Grimes and Maxey, totally fine in the same lineup. I mean, I probably have like 65% of my lineups, maybe a little bit less than that, but certainly more than half of my lineups have Maxey and Grimes both in them together. There is no issue playing them together. First, it's a smallish slate, but then also just think about how cheap Quentin Grimes is and the matchup against Utah. It's not unreasonable to think that Quentin Grimes could put up like 28 fantasy points, and then you get like 55 out of Maxey, and then they're both in a winning lineup. That's more than reasonable to think happens. Super chat from Zachary Cooper. There is no question there, though. If you had something you wanted to say, oh, here it is. Meshack or Hauser? Meshack over Hauser for me. Yeah, definitely Meshack over Hauser. As far as, here we go. We just got more Memphis news. Oh, more news in general. All right. All right. Well, I guess we're just going to have to do more late swaps now. Portland Trailblazers, Scoot Henderson, Drew Holiday, Tumani Kamara, Jeremy Grant, Donovan Clingan. So we were anticipating that Vit Krejci was going to start. That is not the case. Scoot Henderson is starting. So Scoot is going to look really good now. The Memphis starting lineup, Javon Small, Jalen Wells, Ryan Rupert, Gigi Jackson, Olivier Maxence Prosper. Javon Small is also one of the top plays on the slate. We already had him projected really well, but now I had Javon Small in 40% of lineups. Now that he's confirmed starting, that's probably going to go up for me a little bit. And then also for Ryan Rupert, let's see. Rupert, we had projected to not start. We had him projected still for 23.61. Rupert's probably going to be projecting for like 26, 27 fantasy points for us now. This slate is fairly insane. All right, here's what we're going to do. It's probably going to take Rich a few minutes to update projections for the new starting lineups. Let's build out a FanDuel same game parlay. And then by the time we're done with that, the projections will probably be updated for those couple of games. and then we'll go back and look at it. I think FanDuel had a 50% same game parlay boost. They had an option. You could either take it was a 50% same game parlay boost or 25% boost. I took the 150% boost. I'll build that out right now, and we'll do it for one of the later games, presuming that there's value here where we don't have to be as worried about the projections being updated, because the Memphis and Portland starting lineups don't matter for the Atlanta and Milwaukee game. But let's see what we have here for potential top options for Atlanta, Milwaukee, as well as Indiana and the Clippers. Also, there's still a bunch of guys who I think we kind of want to avoid the Pacers game for now anyway for betting purposes, because Nembhard, Nesmith, Peter, Siakam, and Ethan Thompson are all questionable right now. So yeah, Zach, I remember your question. I've got it in my back pocket. I've got it there. Don't worry, I won't forget you. But there's still a lot that could change about the Indiana and the Clippers game. Once again, Nembhard, Peter, Siakam, and Ethan Thompson are all questionable for the Pacers for tonight. So let's just build out a same game parlay looking at the Hawks and Bucks game using some of the top projected players here. And then we'll go and look at the DFS projections after this. All right, so what's projecting well here? We've got Ousmane Dieng for over 3.5 rebounds. This one gives me a little bit of pause just because Ousmane Dieng started last game, played bigger minutes, and they got absolutely destroyed. And we weren't expecting Ousmane Dieng to start last game either. I think that it is very live that Ousmane Dieng doesn't start today. Now, with that said, we did see a different injury report for the Bucks today. Kevin Porter Jr. was ruled out. So last game, when it was Ryan Rollins coming off the bench, they did have Kevin Porter Jr. So maybe they do just leave Ousmane Dieng in the starting lineup. I think he's most likely to start. I feel not 100% about it, though, because he started last game and they got just absolutely destroyed. But with that said, even if Dieng comes off the bench at this point and we see him play like 23, 24 minutes, we trim his minutes by 3-4, I don't think that makes the over 3.5 rebounds look terrible. So I'm good with that one. Bobby Portis over 5.5 rebounds at plus money. If Dieng doesn't start, I think it could be Bobby Portis that starts, and then the over 5.5 rebounds would end up looking really good there. We currently have Bobby Portis projected for just 22.5 minutes. So I'm good with the Bobby Portis over rebound line for sure. Then we just have to find one more. Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I'm going to avoid the under on the 6.5 RA on Nickeil Alexander-Walker. It is plus EV because it's plus money. But Jonathan Kuminga being questionable, that could change some of his projections as far as counting stats go. I'd rather play the Jalen Johnson under 1.5 threes. We've got Jalen Johnson projected for 1.3 threes. And I don't think that that's something that would look negative EV if we were to all of a sudden see, Kuminga get ruled out. Overall for the year, Jalen Johnson is averaging 1.5 threes per game. We've also seen less three-point shooting from Jalen Johnson as of late. So over the last month, Jalen Johnson's been attempting less threes. As a result, he's actually making under 1 3 per game. So I'm good with this being our 3-man combo. I'm pretty sure it could just be a 3-man same game parlay that we could build on FanDuel. Let's see. Yeah. All right. So we got Dieng over 3.5 rebounds. We've got Bobby Portis over 5.5 rebounds. And then we have got, that's still available, Jalen Johnson under 1.5 threes. And I'll post this to Tails as well. And then I'll check to see if the projections have been updated. And if they are, we could do our millionth late swap of the day already. All right, so with the boost, this comes out to plus 751. Dieng over 3.5 rebounds, Portis over 5.5 rebounds, Jalen Johnson under 1.5 threes, and posting this one to Tails right now. So if you guys want to tail it, just go to tails.bet or download the Tails app, totally free, and they'll be easy to tail it over there. Just one click, you guys will be able to load that bet slip into FanDuel. Valentine, who is the Prosper bet? Well, here's the thing. Prosper himself isn't even really a center. The reality is the Memphis Grizzlies are just playing whatever guys they have available. And none of them are actually centers. Like I think he's just gonna have to play a good amount of minutes. All right. Bet is up on Tails in a second. All right. Let's see if there was any other questions that came in. Relevant to right now. Not at the moment. We still have to get to Zachary Cooper's question. Let's go and look to see if the data hub and the projections are updated. Not quite yet. Not quite yet. So let's answer Zachary Cooper's question while Rich works on the projections. All right. So Zach's question was late night FanDuel projections for Atlanta, Milwaukee, and Indiana, and the Lakers. So keep in mind that a lot of this is subject to change because the injury report is an absolute nightmare for the Pacers. Let's go to the late slate. After hours, we'll go to the best guys by position. And this is right now assuming the Pacers guys are in our projections. But here's what we've got. Highest optimal rates at point guard. It is Ryan Rollins at $7,100. His role was drastically reduced with Giannis back last game, but no Kevin Porter Jr. out. That should benefit him. He is by far the highest optimal rate of any point guard. Very popular, though, 65%. We've got Nickeil Alexander-Walker as the second most optimal point guard and also potential for a little bit of a usage increase for him in our projections in the event that we end up seeing Kuminga getting ruled out. So Nickeil Alexander-Walker looks pretty solid. At shooting guard, Ryan Rollins also a shooting guard eligibility. Benedict Mathurin, somebody else to add into the mix. Benedict Mathurin optimal 45% of the time. Small forwards. This looks like a really good option, really good position to pay up for. We've got Kawhi Leonard and Jalen Johnson as the two top options as far as optimal rate. If you want to go a little bit cheaper at the position, you got Derrick Jones Jr. as well as Ousmane Dieng as salary saving options. At the power forward spot, you've got Giannis here as a 60% optimal guy. He's only $10,400 on FanDuel. I don't think he's going to be playing a full allotment of minutes. I think we're going to see 25-ish or so minutes from Giannis, but at only $10,400, he's like $1,500 cheaper than he normally is. So it still makes him okay there as a pay up option. For me personally, though, I would still rather pay up for Kawhi Leonard or Jalen Johnson than Giannis. Then the center position, we've got Siakam right now is the highest optimal rate. Keep in mind, he is questionable. Jay Huff is not on the injury report for the Pacers. I think he's your guy at center. $4,700. I would be very surprised if every single player on the Pacers who's questionable ends up playing. So Jay Huff's projection and optimal rate, it's only going to go up as more guys get ruled out for the Pacers. So this is the best that I could do right now, given the injury stuff. But there is, a lot up in the air here. Caleb, what am I going to do with the bonus funds from the FanDuel threes? Yes, we won the FanDuel 3-point bet the other day on the LaMelo Ball, and that got me a $33 bonus bet. I don't know yet. I'll put it on something. It'll be something plus money or a parlay. When you get one of those bonus bets, that's the best way to utilize it. Is you want to get something that's plus money or a little bit longer odds. So something like that. DK, was Clayton projected to start before? He was projected to start before. We were expecting him to start previously, and that ended up not being the case. Once again, starting lineup for the Grizzlies: Javon Small, Jalen Wells, Ryan Rupert, Gigi Jackson, Olivier Maxence Prosper. Let's look at the updated projections now, which are now updated and good to go. All right, so let's look at Portland and Memphis. We'll start with Memphis, then we'll look at Portland, and then we'll run some late swaps. Okay, Memphis now. So if you guys remember, I was going over my most rostered players. One of them was Walter Clayton. He still looks really good, but I'm not going to be getting to, I think he was my third or fourth most rostered player. That's going to change a little bit in light of this. Here are the top value options we have for Memphis, and value matters a lot for this team because nobody's expensive. And this is the top value spot that we have of the games remaining now. So Walter Clayton is actually still a really good value, one of the top ones for us. He didn't drop as much in projection as I thought that he might have. We still have him for 29 fantasy points at $4,800. Javon Small is the higher priority of the two of them. But I had Walter Clayton in a ton of lineups. I'm still going to have a good amount of him, but it's going to be less than what I previously had when we were expecting him to start. And then here we've got Olivier Maxence Prosper, project for 30.5 fantasy points at $5,100. He looks like a great front court option. Before, when we got the question, who was it that is going to be playing backup center minutes for the Grizzlies? Here's where it's hard. Like, they just don't have other big men. I guess Gigi Jackson's played center minutes at times, but he's not a big man. Jalen Wells, Ryan Rupert, they're certainly not big men. That's why I think Maxence Prosper just probably plays about as many minutes as he could handle, and the Grizzlies just... I think they just probably run this like one of the, like the elementary school teams where just everybody, just fair rotations, everybody plays the same amount of minutes. I think we're just going to see a ton of guys play 30 to 36 minutes for the Grizzlies today. Opportunity for everybody. All right. And now Portland. What do we have for Scoot Henderson? Scoot now projected for 33 fantasy points at $5,800. Okay. We've got Krejci now coming off the bench, just 20.78 fantasy points. Previously, we were projecting him to start. So this is going to make Vit Krejci look a little bit worse. Also of note, I think this slightly dings Drew Holiday and Jeremy Grant just because playing with Scoot Henderson in the starting lineup as opposed to when we were presuming that it was going to be Vit Krejci. Scoot Henderson is a way higher usage guy, so that does make some of the other guys look a little bit worse for Portland just playing with a higher usage guy. All right. Let's start running some late swaps now. See what we get to. Let's see what we end up getting to here. All right. Is there anything I want to change or update here? How are the guys going who are playing so far also? Let's see. OKC and the Knicks. Ooh, Chet Holmgren, 14 points and 2 boards for him. That's a crazy start. Nobody's doing anything for the Knicks, really. I guess Anunoby's got 6 points and 2 boards, but that's not really all that significant. And then the other game's kind of too early to matter all that much. Maxi's hit a 3. Barlow's got 3 points. Watford has a rebound and an assist. That's nice for a minute and a half into the game, but nothing that matters all that much. All right. Did you guys play any of Chet Holmgren? I have 3% of Chet. What is he owned in the $15? How popular is Chet? Chet is... All right. Chet's 2.5% owned. I've got I've got marginally more of Chet than the field. At least the one good thing is if he goes totally crazy, he's not all that popular, so it probably won't matter too much. What a slate for late swapping. See if there was any other questions from Discord while I work on this. And then if you guys have questions too, you can throw them into the YouTube chat. I'll see what I end up seeing there. Here's what we got from Discord. McGint. After late swapping, 100% Grimes could be interesting. I know Josh loved Grimes earlier. Yeah, I mean, Grimes you shouldn't be, regardless of what his final stat line ends up being, I think Quentin Grimes is a very, very strong option on the slate. If I could only pick one player to have 100% of today, Grimes, actually maybe it would be Javon Small at this point, but probably Grimes would be the answer for me. 100% Grimes is not a poor option. Sally Sal, Rupert or Mishak for DraftKings. Mishak. Mishak for me. There's so many guys out for Memphis. They only have only have the 9 available guys. So gonna be him for me. Let's see, is there anything else here? People asking about DOR has actually been a really solid rookie for the Knicks. I think he's a rotation player in the league. But yeah, not somebody who would have anticipated getting off to a good start against OKC. I have to imagine DOR is 0% owned. I did catch that when I was looking at the box score that he had started off well. I was just pretty sure that there was no way that mattered on today's slate. If Diawara is in the winning lineup in the $15 today, Eric will post nude pictures of himself. That's how confident I am that he's not going to be in the winning lineup. I'm offering up Eric Lindquist's body. Watch now I go check the ownership, and he's like, pop. Yeah, no. All right, he's 0.68% owned. He shouldn't matter. He shouldn't play any role in the winning lineup. Unless he scores like 70 fantasy points. But he's 0.68% owned. There's a ton of value on the slate. He shouldn't matter. People saying Grimes is a bust. He has not done anything yet. Still early, though. We're only 4 minutes into the game. But yeah, not an ideal start for him, that's for sure. What did Grimes' ownership end up being? Let's see. How popular is Grimes? 67%. So popular, nothing insane, though. And I am kicking off yet another late swap run. Yet another one. I have a lot of Grimes, so I would like him to play not like dog shit today. But I'm not concerned yet. This is also just a generally really low-scoring game. 10-6, 5 minutes into the first quarter between the 76ers and the Jazz. All right, late swap running. And as soon as this is done, I'll let you guys know what kind of changes I end up getting in my exposures as a result of the new starting lineups. Eric somewhere punching air right now. About which part? Bona has 11 fouls already. He has 1 foul. Not quite 11. Boy, I had a lot of lineups change. What changed here? All right, yeah, so I have a lot. So here's what happened. I lost a bunch of Walter Clayton, and then I gained a bunch of Javon Small and Scoot Henderson. None of that's really all that surprising. I'll do one more late swap. Because like half my lineups changed there. If I run everything through the late swap tool and it's like 80 of 150 lineups changed or something like that, I'll generally run another one after that. Yeah, Filipowski is 3 fouls? Oh, 2? All right. I don't think I really played Filipowski. I don't think so anyway. There's a lot of good center options today. Filipowski, at least the NBA app is saying that he has 3 fouls. 4 points. Maybe it's wrong, though. Yeah, he does have 3. Oh, they're challenging it? All right. Do I have any of Filipowski? I have 4% of Filipowski. So whatever. He could foul out. He could go fuck himself. Doesn't matter to me. All right. So I have right around 60% of Javon Small now. I have 37% of Walter Clayton, and I have 45% of Scoot Henderson. So that's what I ended up with of the guys who mattered the most from the last news change. Kuminga out, you say? Yep, Jonathan Kuminga is out for today. And Keita got hurt too. All right. Well, alrighty then. Well, the Kuminga one isn't going to matter for the main slate here. Just for the late slate. That'll help. That'll help Nickeil Alexander-Walker a little bit more usage for Jalen Johnson. But the Atlanta Hawks, keep in mind, I mean, they didn't have Kuminga until, 3-4 games ago? Devin Klein, what is my process for late swap for single entry? So for single entry, I don't play a ton of single entry for NBA. I do for MLB and I will for NFL as well. But if I was doing a single entry lineup for NBA, I would do late swaps by hand in the single lineup sim. That's how I would do it. All right. Late swaps are done. Let's build out one more same game parlay for DraftKings. If you guys have any other questions, I'll answer them as we go. But just build out the FanDuel SGP. Haven't built out a DraftKings one yet. So let's do DraftKings. And then this was a very, very fast hour here. And yeah, no more questions from Discord. At least not yet. You guys could tag me if you have any. Let's look at the props tool. We'll go to DraftKings. I wonder if there's anything quick we could build for Portland, Memphis before this starts. Let's go just using our projections because this has just been updated. Let's go 100% origination here. And let's build out a DraftKings SGP. Because I still have that DraftKings boost for today. I think there was like a 20% profit boost. Had to be at least 3 legs, I think. And yeah, 20% profit boost, max $5 wager, min odds of at least plus 400. Let's do one real quick for the Memphis-Portland game, which for DraftKings purposes locks in 7 minutes. For betting purposes, locks at 10 after. Valentine, amazed that Grimes is still on 0. It's the way it goes sometimes. They've also been in, I think, a TV timeout for a little bit. Oh, no, they just came back. Yeah, Grimes is 0 for 2. He's just taken 2 threes, missed both of them. Yeah, that has been, it's an ugly game. It's 10-8 halfway through the first quarter. It's just nobody could score there. All right, so let's projecting well here. Keep in mind, no Denny Avdia. There's a lot of good-looking bets here. All right. So Toumani Camara over 5.5 rebounds. That looks really strong. More playing time for him in the absence of... Oh, the line has changed a little bit. Let's see. Is it still available? Oh, because I'm looking at... There we go. I'm looking in the wrong section. Camara... Oh, no. It has moved. Yeah, Camara over 5.5 rebounds is actually minus money now. So... not available anymore. Let's see. Let's refresh this. There we go. Now we've got the fresh odds updates. So Toumani Camara, what's the line on his rebound prop? So it is minus 104 for Camara. All right, minus 104 with a 59% win rate. That's still going to be perfectly fine and acceptable. We've also got the Robert Williams over 6.5 rebounds. I like this one as well. This is less impacted by Denny Avdia, but Robert Williams, we only have projected to play 16.5 minutes and projected for 7.6 rebounds. If we get just a couple more minutes out of Robert Williams, That would then boost his rebound projection to like 8+. And it is something he is capable of doing, Time Lord. Let's see, what's the most amount of minutes that he's played lately? So some recent games for Time Lord. Yeah, last game he played 17 minutes, but the game before he played 22.5 minutes. If Clingan gets into foul trouble or something like that. Oh, this line also has moved a bunch. Well, these lines are moving like crazy. All right, so this is minus 132 now. I'm going to refresh this again. These lines are moving really fast, close to game. All right, so that's going to make that not playable for me anymore. Let's see if we could get the Jeremy Grant over 2.5 threes. That's one I definitely liked for him with extra usage. That's still available. That looks good in the absence of Denny Avdia. And then I want to find one more line that we can get in really quickly before the lines move. We've got Jeremy Grant also benefiting from the absence, not just in the 3-point department of Denny Avdia, but also the rebounds. So I'll take, well, that line's also not available anymore. So maybe not. What about Gigi Jackson over 6.5 rebounds? That's still available. All right, so I'll lock that one in really quick. Yeah, okay, so here's what I ended up building. I have here Tamani Kamara over 5.5 rebounds, Gigi Jackson over 6.5 rebounds, and Jeremy Grant over 2.5 threes. That ended up coming out to plus 660 with the boost. But yeah, those lines move really quick close to the game. Usually when we're doing this, I try to focus on the later games, but because of all the injuries with the Pacers, that's not what I did here. But yeah, kind of interesting how much those DraftKings lines move close to the game there. All right. Has Quentin Grimes scored a single fantasy point yet? He is not, although he's also not in the game. So that's something that will prevent him from scoring fantasy points. All right, let's do a guess. We're going to finish this in a second. How many fantasy points does Grimes finish with today, guys? He is at 0, and presumably he's done for the first quarter. Because he's on the bench. How many does he finish with for the game, not the end of the quarter? McNick saying 11. Okay. Disco Stew, all right, 27. Lost Story saying 24. Red Kell says 31. Swag Baby says 16. So here's a way we can do it with some math. Okay. Let's go to Quentin Grimes. So we had Quentin Grimes projected for 33.5 minutes and 34 fantasy points. Okay. So we have lost 6 minutes with basically nothing from Grimes. So if we go to Quentin Grimes and just do some quick maths. We're going to take 6 minutes off of him. Well, maybe I'll reduce a little bit more too. Just because of him playing poorly, maybe it means a little bit less minutes. So let's go 27 minutes divided by 33. And then we'll multiply that by what he's played so far, which is by his fantasy projection, I mean. All right, so per our projections, here's what we currently be projecting Quentin Grimes for. About 27.8 fantasy points. So that's the current, what I'd say is the current live stochastic projection for Quentin Grimes, 27.8 fantasy points. Good Green says 19. Buck TV says hopefully 25. Robert's got 15. Andy says 19. Guitar Z-Man says 20. Porzingis says 23. Tristan, very ambitious, says 40. Stubbs says 27. Ryan Stubbs. That's right what our projection would have for him live. John Daly says 69.5. Okay. Most people going like low 20s to high teens, though. But yeah, I still feel okay about Quentin Grimes. Obviously, you don't love the start. He's done dog shit so far. But I think the most likely scenarios will be okay. I think it's over 20 for us today. Yeah, Chainsaw says his live PRA on DraftKings is over 20 is -130. And then keep in mind, still the potential for blocks and steals. Yeah, I think we should still get mid-20s fantasy points out of Quentin Grimes. We'll see, though. All right, guys. Thank you all very much for watching. If you have not done it yet, like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you want to sign up for any of the stochastic tools, the props package, any of our NBA packages, use the promo code NBALBL, and that is going to get yourself 15% off any package. And, oh, yeah. Johnny, Kata got hurt. Kata got hurt. That was what happened there. I didn't see if there was any updates, but I did see that Kata got hurt. You just checked back in. All right, so he checked back in. He did get hurt before, though. All right, guys. Quentin Grimes. If you faded him, you're probably rooting against him. If you're like me and you've got Quentin Grimes, your most rostered player, get your shit together, Quentin Grimes. We need you. Good luck, guys.